If you were to describe roofing marketing as a movie, what would it be and why?
Google Ads is expensive. I'm always trying to set realistic expectations, and I feel like there's so many marketers that say, "Oh, you have $1,000 to spend on Google? Sure, let's do it." Surprisingly, I think the biggest thing is not even with a website; it's your Google business profile. So Google ranks active profiles higher. So if you're not posting updates at least 1 or 2 times a week, adding project photos, and especially collecting reviews. Biggest mistake for sure is sending all that paid traffic to a homepage. Homepage is meant to introduce your company.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Roofing Industry Podcast, another episode. I would like to introduce to you Ryan Jenkinson of Founding Square Digital. He's been doing marketing in the roofing and home services space for a while now. So, Ryan, if we can start with the basics, tell us a little bit about you and your company and where people can find you online.
So my name is Ryan Jenkinson. I run Founding Square Digital. I've got a unique background. Been a pharmacist for 14 years now. So I've been using my years of experience in leadership and problem solving, creating the efficient systems to help roofing companies, especially grow through high converting websites, SEO, Google Ads, automations, make it as easy as possible for them to get the leads going and grow their company and reach their goals. So most agencies focus on just getting leads. I quickly learned leads don't mean much if you don't have the systems in place to turn them into jobs. So I focus on that predictable, scalable growth and not just throwing leads at the business and wishing them good luck. And so you can find me. My website is fountain-square.digital. I'm really active on Facebook, LinkedIn, and I've got a Facebook group, Home Service Business Builders.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, I'll definitely put that in the description so that people can find you. So the first question that I have for you, Google Ads for roofers. What's the number one mistake?
So biggest mistake for sure is sending all that paid traffic to a homepage. A homepage is meant to introduce your company. Landing pages are where the ad should be going to. So landing pages are the ones built to convert customers into those book jobs. So if someone's searching, emergency roof repair, they don't need to read about your company's history of when you started in 1998. They need to know, can you help them? How fast? And what's the next step? So dedicating landing page can double or even triple your conversion rate just by giving people exactly what they came for, why they clicked on the ad, and making it clear on what to do next.
Yeah, we use landing pages too. Google likes it a lot. I guess it also improves your quality score and your conversion rate, obviously. So definitely something to think about if you're running Google Ads for any industry. It doesn't even need to be roofing, I guess. So roofing is a competitive space as we all know it. How do you make sure a Google Ads campaign actually stands out and gets leads?
So most roofing ads are just too generic. You've got to do something unique to stand out. So the best performing ones, there's kind of 3 pillars that I like to focus on. So speed. So emergency roof repair within 24 hours. Financing is huge because none of it's cheap. So financing, 0% interest, no payment for 18 months, and even throwing like a financing calculator on the landing page makes it really easy for people to see how realistic it is. And then, of course, trust. It's all about trust and making yourself stand out. So pimp the reviews that you have from Google, anywhere else. Talk about your 5-star reviews, showcase some testimonials. So those are the big ones. And then for Google Ads specifically, ad extensions, where I guess they call them ad assets now. Those are really big because it gives your ad just a little bit more real estate in the listings. You can add, call buttons, site links, reviews, and a little bit bigger of an ad means more clicks.
Yep. More real estate means more room in the Google search engine and more space for you to grab more audience. And I'm glad that you mentioned about calculators. Actually, so I was doing some research the other day and I found out that out of all the things that you can put on a website, like calculators, testimonials, case studies, process, other lead magnets, apparently calculators are the top engagement asset that you can put on a website, which is crazy because people actually go in there and play with it, try to find like different numbers and then see what it costs them. So I'm glad that you mentioned it because that's actually the most engaged asset on a website.
Any roofer working with a good financing company should ask them what kind of website widgets they have, because if they're not using all that stuff built in, they're missing out on opportunities for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. So this is a tough one. SEO versus Google Ads. If a roofer had to pick one, what should they invest in first and why?
So Google Ads are your fast leads and SEO is that sustainable long-term growth. My entire approach is both of those. So I want to cheat and say both. Ads are like renting a house. So you get your quick results, but the price goes up. Google controls that cost. And so you're at the mercy of the market. You're at the mercy of your competitors. SEO is like owning the real estate. So it takes time to build, but once you start ranking, the leads will keep coming in for free if you keep up with it. So ideally you invest in both. And it really, for my clients, it depends on how quick they want results. If they have to choose between one of the two, I usually have them start with Google Ads just to get some more cash flow going but then immediately reinvest into also adding in, improving the website, improving the SEO. Long term, they're going to save so much more money and eventually reduce ad spend when they're getting so much more free organic traffic.
That's the dream, is to pay less to Google and get that organic business, right? What is a quick SEO tip that you would give new roofing businesses?
If you do nothing else, surprisingly, I think the biggest thing is not even with a website, it's your Google business profile. So Google ranks active profiles higher. So if you're not posting updates at least, 1 or 2 times a week, adding project photos, and especially almighty collecting reviews, you're missing out on all kinds of free leads. So getting everything active on Google business profile is key.
Awesome. Yeah, Google My Business is one of the key aspects that people miss. I mean, obviously reviews are great. People focus on those, but even posting regularly, because there's that posting widget on Google business profile where you can put projects, any offers, even like, hey, we're running a financing deal for $99 a month for a roof for 6 months, or free, no interest for 18 months. Any of those offers work great. All right. I know you're big on this, so I'm going to ask you about automation and lead management. What is an ideal response time for a lead? And then how can automation help to nurture and then convert that lead into a customer?
Yeah, so speed is absolutely everything. Ideally, you want your lead to be contacted within 5 minutes, if not 5 seconds. So if you call lead within 5 minutes of it coming in, you're 4 times more likely to close that job. So most roofers, without having systems in place, or like a dedicated person always ready and able to answer emails, calls, texts, most roofers take hours or even days to get back. And so automations are key, because it's just you're spending so much time and money on getting those leads. So to let them slip through the cracks and not have a system set up in place to handle it when they come in, that's a big killer. You got to make good use of your ad spend and get the automations in there to get those leads.
Yeah, absolutely. Time to response is crucial, because no one's going to wait around, especially with everybody being on their phone. They just, scroll through the list and call the next person, right?
Yep. Next person in line. Whoever answers is most likely getting that business.
Right. What about, many roofers struggles with follow-ups too. Do you have a strategy that you would recommend them if they're setting up their follow-ups?
Yeah. So it's a delicate balance of being persistent without being pushy and salesy. So ideally, when that lead comes in, they're immediately getting a text message and an email. If you can call them, great. And then it'll follow up. Like the way I have my automation set up, if we don't get any kind of answer within an hour, it's going to send another message to just like make sure we've got the right person and everything. And then over that next week period, they're going to continue to get some text and email follow-ups until they, either say stop or they answer, and we get to actually have a conversation with them, because it's all about getting that initial contact to build the relationship.
Absolutely. Follow-ups is definitely the name of the game. I think that's true for any business, because people underestimate the power of follow-ups over text messages. Even text messages do amazing. We run campaigns where we're just running text message campaigns from lists that we have built over time, and you get so much repeat business. Even if 2% of it converts, it's massive. So just touching back on automation, what is the most underrated automation that roofing companies aren't using that they should be using?
Yeah, so the missed call text back. So when someone does call and for some reason you don't answer, or it goes to voicemail, there is such an easy automation that's just built into everything that I use, that they will get a text immediately and say, hey, this is owner from roofing company. So sorry I missed your call. What can we do for you? And it's 80% of customers are not going to leave a voicemail. They're just going to call the next company. So just even getting that quick text message to them to start that conversation is key. That's everything. Got to keep them engaged.
Right. No, absolutely. Any industry marketing myths that you wish would disappear? Like more leads fix a broken business?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think that's one of the big things. I think so many businesses just think they need more leads. And even if you pump all that money into ads, if you don't have a system to follow up and actually book those leads and secure the client and do good sales process, if you don't have any of those systems in place, then the lead's not worth anything if you're not converting them. So the answer is not always just more leads. There's foundations that just need to be set in place before we throw that many more into it. Get the system set up.
Right. The systems. Absolutely. And the systems involve a lot of moving pieces. It's not just the website. It's not just the leads. It's not just, let's say, the follow-up sequence. It's a combination, I believe, of all these elements that work work end to end to engage the customer, to nurture the customer, and then obviously to close on them. Well, this is an interesting one. If a roofing business had $1,000 to spend on ads, how would you recommend they spend it?
Yeah, so I would not waste it on Google Ads. That's for sure. Google Ads is expensive. I'm always trying to set realistic expectations. And I feel like there's so many marketers that say, oh, you have $1,000 to spend on Google? Sure, let's do it. And you're not going to get the results that you need. So it's just not enough to move the needle there. For $1,000, the Google local service ads are one of the most cost effective things because you're just paying per lead. But that's not necessarily even going to take $1,000. Like right now here in Indy, average roofing lead is somewhere between $25 to $50 on Google local service ads. And you're only paying for that when the qualified lead comes through. So putting some budget into that to get those leads going. But honestly, I would be setting up more foundations with some SEO on the website and Google business profile optimization. So, some great SEO things you do is make sure even just to do like kind of 1 month of SEO, get all your pages optimized, get your page speed up, add some city location pages for all your service areas. Things like that are going to have long-term effects and make the most out of that.
Great advice. Great. Yeah, absolutely. People that are just starting out, if they can just focus on the Google business profile, their website even. Some people, I know a lot of roofing businesses just build businesses off of door knocking. It's just hustling out there. And I commend that. Like, oh my God, like you guys built a business out of just banging on doors. That's amazing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, go ahead.
My big roofer here in Indy, hometown, they hooked up with me after running for about 6 months, and they were purely door-to-door canvassing. Started as they were building up their reputation, kind of started some word of mouth, but they didn't have really any online presence at all until I came in, and that's been about over a year now. But it was huge for them, and they still do canvassing. Like there's still a place for door-to-door for sure, especially if you've got someone to do it and time. So I'm all about diversifying the lead sources. So do your in-person stuff, do your online stuff, hook up with business partnerships, referrals, realtors, all that kind of thing. They all have a place.
Oh, absolutely. Networking is huge in this space. I want to ask you an interesting question about if you were to describe roofing marketing as a movie, what would it be and why?
Roofing's brutal. It's so competitive, and every roofing business owner has a common personality trait of just wanting to dominate. And I love that. I love working with these roofers. So I'm going with Mad Max Fury Road. Mad Max, yeah, dude. It's fast. Only the strongest survive. And without that strategy, it's just pure chaos. And so it's really just the strongest competitor with the systems in place kind of handle how to take over the market. They're the ones that are going to win out.
Okay, cool. That's a good analogy. I like that. What's one piece of marketing advice that's so good, almost feels like cheating?
Yeah, so going back to the follow-ups, that is just absolutely key. You've got to follow up so much more than you think. 80% of sales happen after that fifth follow-up. So if you're only calling once or twice, which just seems to be the norm, call, maybe leave a voicemail, then maybe you schedule one call the next day, and then you're done with it. That's not enough at all. And so, it takes a lot of time to follow up. Like you need a dedicated person to do it, or get automations in place to help take all that off your hands and take care of it for you. So consistent follow-up is everything. Otherwise, you're letting it slip to the competitor.
And this might sound like a plug for us, but I'm just lay it out anyway. I hear a lot of roofers when I meet with them talk about, hey, I've been burned before. I'm not so sure about SEO. I'm not so sure about lead generation. Like they're so apprehensive. Like they almost want to not be in that call. I'm like, well, you booked that call. Like, why are you here then? So what would you say to people that are trying to vet vendors or partners? I call ourselves partners because we're clearly invested in these businesses and we're not just providing a service or a product. We're really more in tune with what they do and what their market is, what their market wants, and all these factors that really determine how that this business is going to go from 1 million to maybe 2, from 2 to maybe 4, more maybe 4 to 10, whatever it may be. We're super involved in this process as a partner, I believe. At least that's how we look at it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And we've had these conversations. So what would you say to a roofing partner when they're trying to vet or they're trying to figure out how to choose the right partner for their company?
Yeah, so it's common for just every single roofer that I've talked to. They have been burned at least once by marketing in the past. And I feel like I'm just always trying to show that we're not all like that, and that you can do marketing bad very easily. When I first started in this whole business, I learned the phrase churn and burn, where agencies are just, they find a client and they convince them that they're going to get amazing results. And then 2 or 3 months go by, nothing's happening. They've given them all kinds of money, and then they're okay with just getting fired and moving on to the next person. And that blew my mind because relationship I want with my clients, I want long-term. Like I want partnership. I want to be a part of their growth. I want to grow with them. So it's just wild how many unrealistic expectations are set. And so I've made a point very early on to be very realistic and transparent with here's exactly how much you should spend on, for instance, Google Ads. And if you don't have enough for that, we're going to do something different because it's not worth spending unless you're up to this amount. And with that amount, you're going to get this many leads. But Google Ads still takes 1 or 2 months to really get flowing and get that lead flow. So just setting them up with the right expectations and timelines is so key because you don't need to overpromise. And they've been overpromised so much. So if you're telling them something that seems completely unrealistic, you're losing their trust because they're not dumb. These owners have been through a lot. And yeah, I think really they're just looking for the kind of personalities that are going to be an advocate for them. And if they're in marketing, we can't control the market. We can study and watch it and flow with it, but things change constantly. Google changes everything. And so the big thing is we get to keep up with it. These owners have so many more things to do than keep up with marketing trends. And so that's one of the big things that we can help them with is to keep up on that and go with flow.
Everything that you said pretty much encompasses different interactions that we have with these businesses. So this has been swell, Ryan. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I hope a lot of people in the industry will be able to take away some value from this. We really loved having you. Thank you so much for your time. And just before we finish, we just want to share all the socials so that people can find you online. It's unsquare.digital. That's your website. If you want to spell out the other socials, that'd be great.
Yeah. So I'm most active on Facebook. So find me on Facebook. I'm good at SEO. So if you search my name, you're going to find me. But yeah, Ryan Jenkinson, Facebook, LinkedIn, Fountain Square Digital. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been a blast. I love networking with other marketers and those of us that have chosen to dedicate ourselves to roofing. There are so many intricacies of what makes this industry so much fun to work with, the personalities and the strategies and everything. So I love that I've landed in this area in my life, and it's so much fun talking with people like you who are going through a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, this is awesome. You're actually the second marketer on the show. Next up, we have actually quite a few roofers lined up, so that'll be an interesting conversation. But I believe there's so much room for partnerships in this industry, and there's so much to learn. I just spoke with an industrial roofer for the first time, and I just learned that industrial roofing, even though it falls under commercial, is a lot different than just commercial roofing. So we're doing a website for them and trying to understand their business and all the other nuances of industrial roofing. And they don't even do any shingle roofing. They only do EPDM, metal, and TPO. So I'm like, okay, that's great. I just learned something new. Right.
Yeah, you get a whole new list of experiences.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love it. So yeah, thanks a lot for your time. And for those of you who are watching or listening to this podcast, please give us a thumbs up, maybe leave a comment about what you thought about our discussion here today. And be sure to subscribe to our channel, The Roofing Marketer. Ryan, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to our channel too.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're just trying to get the word out. We'll keep having these episodes. Thanks a lot from me, Nazar, The Roofing Marketer, and have a good one, Ryan.
Thanks, guys.